How to evade taxes completely as a translator or computer programmer or any other over-the-internet freelancer. It's simple. You work with US-based companies while living in certain countries such as Greece, Italy, Spain, etc. US companies do not send 1099s abroad. Do not send any information regarding your income, the money that they paid you, outside the United States. There is no mechanism for these companies to report your income. So now you're going to say, this sounds like completely stupid, because how many people would do something like that? All translators that I personally know in these countries are doing it. All of them. None of them is reporting the income that they receive via PayPal or bank deposits or any other payment mechanism. Authorities in these countries are not checking PayPal or Wise accounts or any other platform unless there is a specific complaint filed to the authorities about a specific individual, and still they cannot check PayPal. They just go to the bank and check the bank if they have a specific complaint against a specific individual. They have not done, and they are not capable of doing any other checks in bank accounts or PayPal. If you go to translators forums and you say this, everybody will jump up and say, what are you talking about? I'm paying my taxes and blah, blah, blah. Well, how do you pay them? Based on what? You're not receiving a 1099. And occasionally in those forums, they're going to have a slip of the tongue, right? And they grow very worried every time one of these platforms asks them for more information and or to classify their accounts as business accounts. Of course, this puts American translators at a terrible disadvantage because their income is reported by the US companies to the IRS and to themselves through the 1099 forms. They're at a disadvantage of about 35% compared to European translators who work with US-based companies and never pay taxes on their income. Some European and Asian translators claim that despite this, they are good citizens supposedly and report their income to their local authorities. The question is how? There is no paperwork showing their income officially from the US-based company. There is none. So how do they report it? They just report an arbitrary number based on their PayPal and bank transactions. They don't even have that. They are lying. They do not report a dime. Some of the agencies in the United States know this very well, and they use it as a recruiting tool. Instead of discouraging it, they are using it under the table as a recruiting tool, telling potential translators that we're not sending 1099s abroad because there is no mechanism to do that, so you can skip taxes altogether. So if you're a translator or a computer programmer or a designer or an online engineer working with US agencies, US companies in general, and having to compete with other professionals in other countries, you already know that. And you know that you are at a disadvantage of about 30 to 35% to begin with. Am I doing something like that? I can't, because I'm a US-based translator, American citizen, and I live in the US. All my income is reported by these US companies to the IRS. Would I recommend that somebody does it? I cannot recommend something illegal, because it is highly illegal. They're just getting away with it because the authorities in these countries are not checking PayPal or Wise accounts or bank accounts. You'll be wondering, what kind of money are we talking about? Many years ago, these kind of incomes were small, nobody cared. But nowadays, we're talking billions in unreported income. Billions. Because it's not only translators, and even translators, all of them together, are in the hundreds of millions in unreported income, but it's also computer programmers and all these other professions that are done from home online. So you have, for example, European programmers living very comfortably with income that they receive from US-based companies, and they charge 1/3 less than US-based programmers, who are at a terrible disadvantage because of that. Authorities in these countries are very well aware of this, the unreported income via bank transfers and PayPal, but unless they are hit with a massive lawsuit from the EU Commission, which has to stop drinking at some point and start working, they will do nothing about it. And the American Translators Association, these guys have done nothing about this. They have not even mentioned it. Instead, they are accepting memberships from all over the world without even the slightest proof of translation work or residence. You can be a plumber in Lithuania without even a US address and register with the American Translators Association. The only requirement is that you pay their fee, their annual fee, that's it. It should be renamed to the Association of Anybody, Anywhere, Doing Anything. I know it sounds comical, but that's the way it is. By now you probably understood that this channel is not like a high production channel with Mickey Mouse animations and other imbecilic content. This channel bites. And if YouTube takes down this channel or this video, I will have my lawyers send formal letters to the Department of Justice in the US, tax authorities, newspapers in other countries, investigative journalists, YouTube channels with investigative content, and I will make the matter public through other avenues, especially printed newspapers, to be on the record. This whole thing that you see is going to take me about $600 in one day. That's it. So, this is for now. In the next video is it worth it being a translator in the US anymore? Thanks a lot. Bye.